This is my second review for the Bosch PFS 3000. During my first review, I used it for something it was not designed for. In this video, I successfully used the PFS 3000 for something it was not designed for. Again. The instructions state that it should not be used for masonry paint, but I decided to press ahead nonetheless. In this video, you will see me paint the whole of the back of my house, warts and all. Personally, the main advantage of the PFS 3000 is that it allowed me to paint the house single-handedly from the top of the ladder, something I could not have done with a conventional roller brush, holding it in one hand and then holding the tray of paint with the other. Here I am changing the spray pattern from the vertical fan to a conical shape to be able to get into the eaves. Paint consistency matters. I think the reason why Bosch say that you should not use masonry paint is that it is too thick. Samtex, which is what I'm using here, is like custard. It does not drip. I had to dilute it about 15 or 20% to get it to drip, and not just drip but flatten. When the drip falls onto the paint in the tin or the can, it should eventually flatten into the surface of the paint. That's the minimum consistency, or should I say fluidity. Notice how I stop shorter of the edges and finish the detail with a roller brush. This is because the overspray is fierce, and anything that does not hit the target flies a long distance. I've got neighbours on my right, and I've got neighbours on my left, and I've got glass which I don't want to spray either. I'm rolling on the same diluted paint I use in my sprayer, and the consequence of that is it doesn't cover as well. Therefore, for every 2 coats of sprayed paint, I need between 3 or 4 coats of roller application to get the same opacity or coverage. The instructions say to hold the sprayer about 25 centimeters away from the target and overlap each stroke by 5 centimeters. Here I'm a bit too far from the wall and going too fast, as you can see from the poor coverage. My technique does improve during the video. The product is a very good quality product, I think, but skill does matter. Here I'm standing on the top of a stepladder. I seem to have improved my application technique, matching more closely what the manual suggests. The surface is a coarse and porous cement render, so the splatter does not matter. The second coat was a bit more liquid or a bit fluid, and the finish is perfectly acceptable for an outdoor concrete wall. Indoor, we require different paint consistency. Oops, bang goes the LED flashing. I should have been a bit less lazy and had a bit more foresight and masked the ruddy thing. Once again, I'm holding the gun too far from the wall and sweeping too fast, leading to poor application. Now I have to go over the surface again to improve the coverage. Another benefit of a PFS 3000 is that it requires far less physical effort than a standard one-handed roller. Painting with a PFS 3000 would also be far quicker than painting with a roller if you can use the big nozzle, the high paint flow and the high airflow. The consequence of higher paint flow is higher overspray and higher splashback, so I chose to use a small nozzle, the low paint flow and the low airflow. Notice how brushing over the sprayed area makes a sprayed area worse. I couldn't be doing this with a roller in one hand and a tray of paint in the other. In my opinion, it's best to roll the detail on first and then do the spraying. just checking I haven't sent any overspray into my neighbour's yard. Yeah, definitely better to do the detail first and the spraying second. My technique is still inconsistent. Running out of paint. It took about 2 litres to get this far. I'm near the end now. So here we are, 2 coats of spray and 3 or 4 of roller detail. This collateral damage came off easily with a wet paper towel and a razor blade. You must cover everything that cannot be touched by paint. Otherwise you get this misting, or in the case of your yard, splattering from overspray. This is my entry for the Darwin Awards. And that's it. I hope this has been of some help. The main points are listed in the summary below.